You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Sam Peterson,
Trip Roby.
Welcome, Trip. Welcome, Sam. Trip is a guy that, a recent guest, Matt Price, turned on to me, and I've heard a lot of good things about you. Work out at Changes.
Yes, sir.
Awesome program.
Yeah, we love Changes, man. We have a Narcan distribution box out there. Mm-hmm. We refer people out there all the time, and a lot of people that come through that program come down here, move into sober living, utilize our services, and say a lot of good things about you guys. So we actually have a staff member who went through there.
Yeah.
And always talks good about you guys. So it's an honor to have you on, man. And we wanted to have you on because, one, we've heard so many good things about you, and two, we're always looking for new people to come on to share a little experience, strength, and hope, share some of their story. You know?
He's got to be a good dude. He's got the green matching tennis shoes, hat, and shirt.
Oh, he's all the way together. Kind
of looking a little Irish today.
All Nike, too. They're all Nike gear. Yeah, nice. I mean, it's good to be together. Yeah.
He dresses way better than you do.
Way better than me. I went and talked to the sheriff today dressed like this.
That's incredible.
Did he arrest you?
I actually put on a Four Rivers jacket on top of it.
That's good. Good. I'm proud of you.
But it's crazy I get to do things like that today.
Yeah.
Sit down with the sheriff and talk about, how we can help people. I mean, I used to be really nervous about it.
Can I tell you something that happened to me yesterday?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was at work yesterday, and back in my day, there was a cop there in town that had got me a couple times. I just finished class with the guys, and I was coming up our front hall, and he was coming down the hall, and we kind of locked eyes. He was like, "Man, what are you doing here?" I said, "You're not here to get me, are you?" He said, "No, man, I'm not here to get you." He said, "But it's good to see you here."
Yeah.
I told him I've been working here for a while, man, and it was pretty cool, a little interaction there, and
that's good stuff.
Man, that's the fringe benefits of the recovery.
Yeah,
no longer am I on the wanted list.
Yeah.
Right, but then I think that's probably a great encouragement to that guy too, to see that it's possible that people can change, and So how long you been working at Changes?
A little over 3 years.
Okay.
A little over 3 years.
I figured it was a good bit.
Yeah, I've been there a little while, man. I went through, I guess, in November, I think 24th of November of 2022, as or 21. I went to rehab, man. I did 6 months there, got out, and got in recovery court there in Obion County. Did that for 2 years, and about a year into my sobriety, I started working at Changes.
More of a Tennessee guy than a Kentucky
guy?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can tell the accent's just slightly different.
I can't tell.
Well, you can't. I can't. But I'm more Central Kentucky, so I'm a Western Kentucky transplant. Far Western Kentucky.
So you grew up in Tennessee?
I did, man. I grew up in Tennessee, around Union City, Reelfoot Lake area.
Okay.
And
do you know Nathan?
Yeah, I know Nathan well, man. Me and Nathan went to school together.
See, I asked Sam if he knew you, and I never asked Nathan.
Yeah, I've known Nathan a long time, man.
Okay.
We lived together for a little while.
That's good.
Yeah. We had some wild times.
Wow. I should have asked Nathan.
You definitely should have been asked Nathan to be on.
But I'll tell you this: when I was in rehab, I seen what Nathan was doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, if this guy can do it, I know I can.
Oh, absolutely.
So he was a big inspiration for me, man, to change my life as well.
That's awesome. We won't tell him that.
Yeah.
No. All we're going to say is like, oh, yeah, he said he knew. You said you were horrible.
Yeah. No, good guy.
No, yeah. We'll
get the good stories after we get off the mics. That way we can use them to our advantage later.
All right.
We all went through treatment through Centerpoint with Nathan and been stuck with him ever since.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an inspiration to us and us to him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so cool that we've come this far, all worked together. We all peer mentored together. We've all come here and worked at Turning Point together, and that's a great bond to have with brothers that you need that support.
Absolutely.
And that's what we kind of got at. We have at Changes. There's a bunch of us. We've been there together for years, and they're my friends, man. I've in recovery, I've made some real friends. And I've been fortunate with that.
Right, friends that aren't going to stab you in the back.
Who aren't your buddy because you have something to offer. They're your friend because they
Yeah.
They want to be.
Just get you a
they
Christmas
like
gift
you.
because they're a nice dude.
Yeah, you know.
It's kind of weird doing the Christmas stuff nowadays, you know, like
Yeah.
trading parent, like because like I think about like the friends I had, you know, before it was like, oh, here, man, you know, I got this, we'll share it.
Yeah.
That was the Christmas present.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about, you know, like your recovery journey, how you got into it and what your struggles were that you want to share, obviously.
Yeah, man. You know, when I was about 15, I started using drugs, man, and you know, started with weed and stuff like that. And by 17, it was cocaine, pretty much full blast, you know. And at that point, kicked out of school and started traveling, selling cars. I sold cars all over the country.
God, I did too.
Really?
You did too,
Same
yeah.
thing.
Traveling?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Road shows?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. The old, I work for the bank. I don't work for the car companies.
Man, look here. I did that for about 12 years. Yeah, exactly. You know? But
I can't remember the name of the company. It's so long ago because I was young.
yeah, I worked for a bunch of different companies. You know how it is,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You know, different sale every week, you know.
Yeah,
but,
it's a horrible way to live.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. It was
It's spiritually,
times.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I did that for about 12 years. And, you know, throughout that time, I lived all over the country. Well, then I moved home about 10 years ago. And when I moved back to Union City, I found meth. You know what I'm saying? And when I found that, I went from working and being able to function to just, let's get high and steal stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did, you know?
Yeah.
So it took me down through there, man. And just in and out of jails. And but I guess, you know, in November of 21, I got arrested and was sitting in a jail cell and actually was in there with a real good friend of mine, Kenny Moore. And while we're in there, we're both talking about, man, we just want to change our lives. I'm tired of living like this. And, you know, it's just, it's that vicious cycle you hear about, you know, and they both send us to court the same day. We walk into court together, and it's the first time I ever told the judge I had a drug problem. You know, I would always go in there and like beat around the bush, and I didn't want him to like drug test me and stuff like that. You know, so
Yeah, you didn't want the bond revoked or whatnot.
you know, let's drug test him before we let him out. You know, so with me that day though, I walked in. I said, Judge, I need help. He said, you know what? I'm glad you're asking for help because we're going to give it to you. And they sent both of us to Safe Harbor. They wouldn't send us to the same one. They sent me to Aaron. They sent him to a Safe Harbor of Bucksnort. And did 6 months there and got out. We got out about the same time. Both of us were put in recovery court together. We went through the program together. He's still my best friend. I see him, you know, every day. We
That's
talk
awesome.
every day. And he's been a big support for me, man. You know, then getting into changes, you know, recovery court was great for me, man. It was almost a 2-year program, and you learn all kind of stuff, man, and how to live life sober. And that was my thing. I'd been getting high my whole life, so I didn't know how to function sober. I didn't know what that was like, you know. But recovery court taught me that, and then getting into changes, man, it just gave me a purpose in life, you know, something to do with myself, you know.
Yeah, a way to give back and try to help somebody
man.
else. And you're absolutely right, man. Like recovery court, drug court, all those things, like you gain the tools, you gain the experience on like how to handle life differently,
Yes, sir.
you know, and what the benefits of being responsible and paying your bills and showing up on time and all the things. You're like, wow, when I do this, life's better. I don't end up in jail. You know what I mean? Like, and people aren't mad at me.
I was scared of that. I was scared of responsibility, scared of taking care of stuff I never have. I'd always lived with my family. You know, they always took care of me. When I was on the road selling cars, I was with my dad. And I was like a grown child, you know, but I had to learn to take care of myself. And when I first got out of, rehab, I moved in with my father, lived with my father for about 2 years. And, a little over, I guess, 18 months ago, you know, he passed. And when he did, it was time for me to step up and take care of myself, you know.
Yeah.
And luckily, being sober, I could, you know. I know, I guess with God, you know, God helped me through a lot of it. I know when it first happened with my father, I'm mad. I'm like, man, why would you do this to me? But then looking back, you know what? God gave me the street. God led me to where I'm at, to where when that point came, I would be able to take care of myself, you know.
And that you got to have that time with him where you had your life together and was sober and like meaningful stuff. Like I know that for me, like when I was in the madness, 2 of my grandparents passed and I was living in Louisville and they lived here, Paducah. And I refused to come home under the guise of like, I want to remember them like they were, because one had dementia and one kept having strokes. And I was like, I don't want to see them like that, when truly I was like, you know, a heroin addict and an alcoholic who couldn't have even functioned or been useful to them in that state and was just trying to stay away. And I had a lot of regret about that and guilt about that when I got sober. But my grandparents that have passed since then, they were able to see me get my life together. I was able to be present and be there for them, help them. And that, no longer, you can't do anything about the things that you haven't done, but to have that with your dad is meaningful. I'm sure it meant a lot to him.
It meant the world to me to have those, those times with my father, man. And he pushed me to get sober. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, when I got put in recovery court, they gave us a curfew at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, man. I didn't wake up till 7 or 8. You know what I'm saying? Normally,
I went through specialty courts in Kentucky. It was like 10. It wasn't 6, but that's crazy.
6 o'clock. Well, my dad didn't get off till 6, so he would get off and come home and be like, I want to go get something to eat. I'm like, well, I can't leave the house, But he pushed me to be better, man, and held me accountable, and I needed that in my life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, one time I was going to stay out past the 6 o'clock. And I was at home, but I was like, there's a girl calling. I'm going to go see her. And I was backing out of the driveway, and the cops were pulling down the road because they would do home checks. So I just pulled back in the driveway. He said, where were you going? I said, I was going to run to the store to get a snack. He said, well, you're not. After that, I never left that house again.
It's just God do it for you.
Exactly.
Right there.
Exactly.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is, despite their name, they're never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
Hey y'all, did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we are open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Yeah, that's great, and we need that. I know I do. It's so good to see what you can learn from these experiences. Like, it's a blessing that happened that way, because what if you got away with it that one time? Then you would start trying to push the envelope and seeing like what more you could get away with. And so often you find out, like, if the consequences come early, it prevents you from continuing that behavior. But to look at it that way is completely different than who we used to be. We would never have looked at it that way, like that was a blessing that we had early consequences and warnings before.
Yeah, old me would have just waited on him to pull out the driveway and left again,
Right. But, sneak out the back through the woods,
Yeah, put some pillows in my bed in case Dad come in there and look.
They already checked. They're not going to come back.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So one thing I like to ask people is, like, in your early recovery, was there a word or a principle or something that really stood out to you that, like, you latched onto, that, like, oh, that's who I want to be, or that's what I need in my life, or that connected with me?
To me, it was winning. Yeah. Man, I was tired of losing. And I think, I was an athlete growing up, man. Played football, baseball, basketball, man. And I'm the most competitive person in the world. You can ask Matt if you see him. Well, me and him play cornhole, and we always team up against the clients. Yeah. And, I'm a pretty good cornhole player, Matt. But, we get pretty competitive, and I get pretty angry with him sometimes. But that's just my nature, man. But you know what? I lost that for a long time. Yeah. I lost that for a long time. I got comfortable losing. And when I got back to rehab, I'll tell you, they when you first get there, they put you on what they call work mode. And for 2 weeks, you go around the rehab and you just clean up. And they say whoever works hard during work mode, you get the better jobs. Well, I worked my butt off in this place. And then they sent me to the worst job there, Waverly Wood. So I get there. And, of course, I've been selling cars my whole life. This is outside in the cold. It's November or, December. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this is not for me. So I'd get home, and I'd call my dad, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this. He's like, quit making excuses. Well, I go in the next day, and it's cold, and I flip down on the people. They said, we'll have changes, or we'll have Safe Harbors bus come pick you up. You're out of here. Well, I get back to the rehab, and I've done thought about what I'm going to tell the guy that runs the place. I go back in there in that warm room, and I curl up in that bed. And about an hour or so later, he, bangs on my bed, wakes me up. I turn over. He said, get to my office. So he takes me to the office. He said, what happened? I said, sir, I'm sorry. Things got tough, and I resorted back to my old ways. He said, well, great answer, but you're going back to work mode. Well, they put me back in work mode. I did that for a while, except this was like 8 hours a day of cleaning this place. So it was torture. And then they send me to a place called Magnum Manufacturing. And you want to talk about a tough job, man. Metal, press plant, lifting just tons of metal all day. But I started winning again, man. I would come home at night after a tough day of work, man. I'd call my dad and let me tell you how much weight we lifted today and how much metal, and I started feeling good about me again. I quit. I didn't quit, and that was always my thing. Most of my life, especially in addiction, when things got tough, man, I would quit. And I think what I would do is I would try something, but I would wait on times to get tough, use that as an excuse to quit and say, well, at least I tried.
Yeah.
But once I got to safe harbor, I quit trying. I just started doing it.
I think that some of that's that car salesman mentality too. Is because if you were worth your salt, you tell somebody after you real quick, go work somewhere else.
Oh yeah,
immediately. It wasn't like you were going to have that in between time.
Yeah.
I know I did it a couple times. I'm sure.
Well, I did it a bunch.
Yeah. And it's just you get in that mentality too with that. Not only with the addiction, it's like and then of course pushing a pen ain't nothing like pressing metal.
Man, you're not kidding.
But I think like your perspective on that, like the job lifting metal, you took the perspective like this was a workout. Like look what I'm doing, look what I've accomplished.
Exactly.
Instead of like this sucks, I'm lifting heavy stuff all day.
Gratitude in action.
Yeah, you're just no, look, I'm getting a workout, I'm accomplishing, I'm getting stronger, I'm completing a job. I take pride in that. And when you change your perspective on that or anything, that changes the whole game.
I just had to remind myself daily how lucky I was to have that opportunity to be at that place instead of sitting in prison, because it would have been easy for the judge to send me away.
Yeah.
And, he gave me an opportunity, and it was time for me to take advantage of it. It's time for me to make it happen. And looking back, you know what? I got there I think it was a day before Thanksgiving. And, man, you want to talk about just mad. The family's doing Thanksgiving, and I'm in this place. But I look back now, and that Thanksgiving, that Christmas, that Super Bowl, watching with those guys, those were some of the best times of my life, man. It was when I found me again,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
It's funny. The first time I went through treatment was the day before Thanksgiving. First one. Not the last one, but the first one. Now, I also did not enjoy that at the moment, but towards the end, it becomes a lot more special.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Man, it does.
Yeah, I went in Centerpoint the end of August, so I was in there through all the holidays like that, the same. And there was no level of gratitude those first couple months.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see it. You couldn't even force me to share gratitude. Like all I could see was the negative of where my life had taken me, and here I was. And, once I was able to flip that script, to start seeing the things I should be grateful for, the fact that I was still alive, for one, the fact that I had this opportunity to change my life, the fact that I actually had a support system that I didn't deserve, that I had abused my whole life, and most people didn't have that level of support system, and start seeing it like that. That's why I preach gratitude all day long now, man, because I know how much that will just change your life, change your perspective, change the whole thing about yourself when you can see the things, even the little things that you can be grateful for.
That's something I talk about with our clients daily is, instead of looking for the things to be mad about or, being pessimistic, man, be optimistic and look at what's good going on in your life right now, because there's a lot. There's a lot good going in my life. I think in our meeting last night, it was our topic was accepting your current circumstances, pretty much. And for me, it's pretty good. I'm in a good place in life right now, man. A whole lot better than it used to be. But it takes patience to get here. You know what I'm saying? And hard work.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely true. I mean, nothing happens overnight, and it's that willingness to keep pushing forward, to keep trying, and having the support system around you, people who are like, your job there is to encourage and support people and show them what's possible. I'm sure there's people that come in there who maybe knew you from before, and they see, hey, wow, look at how good he's doing. It's possible. It's the same with us. We just try to be that example, and life isn't always easy. It's not going to just you can't just expect it to be great all the time, but we don't have to make it worse anymore.
Exactly.
By our actions.
So true.
Yeah, man.
Resilience. You got to persevere. And, like I said a while ago, I used to look for those kind of opportunities just to give up. Today, man, when life throws me something like that, I'm like, well, let me show you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you what I can do.
That's that winning mentality.
That's
Like,
it,
I'm going to win. I'm not going to let this beat me. I mean, look, my word, the thing that stood out to me early on that I tell people all the time was courage. Like, I didn't think I was afraid of anything when I got there because I didn't care if I lived or died at that point. But once I realized that my whole life had really been controlled by fear, I no longer wanted to be that person. And I latched on to the word courage as like, that's who I want to be. Someone who's courageous, who faces his fears head on. Whether he falls flat on his face or succeeds, I'm going to learn from him and keep going.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very competitive too. So it's like when you approach being courageous and facing your fears with that competitive attitude, it's like, I'm going to beat this. Like, I'm not going to be the person who's held down and controlled by this fear anymore.
We'll need you to get your bowling game like that.
Look here, hold up. I went bowling this weekend. Me and my girlfriend and her son. He's 2.
Yeah.
I think I got to roll 3 balls. Like when the ball, how that comes back to that little corral there, he would just run and get it. And if I tried to bowl, he'd cry. So we just let him bowl for all 3 of us. I still won. It was like 86. I scored 86. So, but I'm not much of a bowler either, man.
Well, me and Sam, that was our thing for the first couple years out of Centerpoint. Like, we went bowling every week. That was like one of our favorite meetings that we kind of looked like a group of guys in recovery. We'd go bowling every week, and I enjoyed it. But then we got into a bowling league, and that ruined it for me.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
still bowl. Man,
mandatory. Yeah, bowling was one of those things. Like, I did it for that long. I bought the ball, I bought the shoes, and did it regularly, and I never got better. So I'm just like, I'm done. I tried years. I tried.
Well, that sounds like Matt Price's cornhole game. He's been playing for years, and it's still.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because I meant to address when you brought up cornhole earlier, because I don't know if that's just a recovery thing, but there was a lot of cornhole in Centerpoint, and we got good at it.
Hey, I went to Centerport and spoke, me and my dad, probably 2 years ago. And when we got done, we walked out, I guess, on the side there, and there was just like, just cornhole, just lines of the game, and there's just guys playing. I said, well, I got to get used to this place,
Yeah.
Well, we went through during COVID, so we weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was...
Yeah. All we did was play cornhole, a little bit of volleyball.
Some ping pong here and there.
Yeah, that's what we do. It changes. We got volleyball, we got ping pong, we got a gym. We got a bunch of activities like that. And I, at least once a day, I try my best to get the guys out there to get the blood pumping and have fun, man.
I know when I've worked in rehabs, which has been a while now, like some of the best one-on-one time was always volleyball, cornhole, ping pong.
Yeah.
People get relaxed. They open up. They'll share things they wouldn't have shared, at other parts, and you build that connection with people. Because starting to have fun again.
Yeah, man,
remembering
important.
that you can have fun, you can laugh, because a lot of times we weren't laughing for a long time.
Or it's a fake laugh, what I'm saying. It's, but today it's different. I know this though. When we go play volleyball, I tend to make them mad because I am. So
You're a tall guy. Yeah.
I'm tall and I'm competitive, and when you mess up, I'm like, get it together. So the clients, they're like, I don't know about this guy. What I'm saying? So afterwards, I normally have to apologize to everyone.
Just start giving them a brief before you go out there. Be like, look, I can't. This is me. I can't help it.
That's one. Look, out of anything I need to work on, that's it. Is just being overly competitive and taking it too far sometimes, but.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, that's one of those things that I'm way better than I used to be. Like, I used to get really angry if I lost or if my team lost. One of those guys that just my team loses and I punch a wall and break my hand and I'm like just angry. And now I'm just like, what? I'm not in that game. I can't control that.
I try to tell myself that, but I'm a Cowboys fan, man. It's been torture it's been torture for 30 years. I broke a lot, but I try to do that.
It's a process. Yeah, but I don't let it bother me as much as it used to. That's for sure. And I look at that as a win, because look, we're always going to have something to work on, and the willingness to work on those things daily, even if it's just a little bit each day, even if it's just slowly improving, and maybe no one else even notices it. But if we can notice it, or we know that we're at least trying and we have the willingness to try, that's the whole next level of it.
Yeah, and that was always my thing, man. I wasn't willing to try nothing new. I think I was real comfortable just living the way I was living, and why, I'll never know, because it was horrible.
Well, dude, it's amazing to me what becomes normal in the madness.
Yeah.
Like, we get used to this constant state of chaos. Like, I remember the first time I went to jail, I was screaming at the cops and fighting and all these things. By the 10th time I went to jail, I was like, hey, what's up, buddy? I'm not going to make this any worse. I was just like, here we go again. I'll go lay down, take a nap, whatever. And that became normal. I was used to being locked up. I knew that life. I knew, and it's sad, but that's what happens, And so today, we don't have to get used to those things anymore. We can be better, and we can set good examples, and we can deal with things differently.
Yeah, I don't know how I would take that now, but I was the same way. Like, I'd been arrested over 70 times in my life, man. I was in and out, and it got to where sometimes I was just glad to go. To get a break, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I don't know how I would take going to jail today. I'd probably be that guy in there crying, banging on the walls, you know what I'm saying? But luckily, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
As a woman in recovery, I know how important having a fellowship of women has been for me. Come join us at the Women of Worth All Recovery Support Group here at Turning Point, 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky, every Friday night at 6 p.m., where we discuss our personal experiences in recovery. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Once you learn the right way to be and are committed to doing it, it changes the game. Yeah. And for me, finding peace, right? Like you said, we get used to the chaos and the madness, and that becomes normal. But when I finally found a level of peace, and for me, it was largely due to having a relationship with God and, working this program and giving back. I didn't know how bad I needed that, right? Yeah. You find peace, and you're like, wow, this is what it's like to not have that fear, anxiety, worry, all the things that you didn't even realize you were just constantly consumed with, and you're self-medicating, and you're running with, and you're just compounding it and making it worse. And when you can breathe again, you're like, oh, it doesn't have to be like that, and that's priceless to me.
Yeah, in addiction, man, it was just total chaos, stress, worry, and I know, when I got out of rehab and I came back home, like I said, I had a curfew at 6 o'clock. And just being able to sit back and watch a movie, that was something to me, man. Because I remember in addiction, I'd be like, let's watch something. And I cut it on, and about 2 minutes into it, I'm squirrel, and I'm, but,
right.
Me and my dad he watched series, and he was a huge Sopranos guy. He loved Entourage, and so he would tell me about these shows, and he did for 20 years. Of course, I didn't have time to watch nothing. I was too busy, ruining my life. But once I got sober and I'm staying there with him, I cut Sopranos on, and I sit and watch it. Every night when I'd come home, he'd be sitting up, and he'd be like, what happened last night on the show? We would just discuss it, but it was a piece for me, just being able to sit back, relax, and enjoy myself, man, and not have to worry about the consequences of the things that I've done today. Because that's what got me, man. I would go out and just do nothing but hurt people, man, and tear lives apart, and then come home at night and lay there and have to deal with that. Today I don't have that. Today when I go home, man, I sleep well. Well.
I mean, that's so true, because it used to be I couldn't lay my head down without being high on something, drunk on something, to shut the carnival off. I'd lay down, and it's the guilt from whatever I did that day, or just all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there was no sleep without being blacked out, falling over, whatever. And today, I could just lay my head down. I don't have any of those worries, I mean, life isn't always.
Sleeping's great, man. I didn't do a whole lot.
You look like you're about to fall asleep right now.
Yeah, I could.
I asked the clients that yesterday. I was like, when was the last time you just went to bed? Like, not just woke up somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm my stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like, said, I think I'm going to bed now. I never did that.
No.
In addiction. I just woke up on somebody's couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. And it is weird at first. Like, I'm going to pull up my blankets and turn the light out. And,
Oh, man. I love it.
So odd. But
you know what? I love that part of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Especially when you've had a successful day. And that's my thing now, man. Every time I go home, man, I lay down. I can look back and say, man, I did my thing today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man.
And I'll tell you another thing is when I wake up in the morning. My dad always told me a man without a plan is nobody. And that's one thing I do, man. I try to make sure I have a plan for the day, and when I wake up, I get to running. You know what I'm saying? But when you're sitting around aimlessly just going through the day, hoping something good happens, it might not.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, I always hated routine, but I think that, like, especially early in those first year or so of your recovery, it's good to have a routine that you follow that works for you, and it can be different from everybody. Mine was started out with and I still do it to this day, morning prayer and meditation every day. That's how I start my day. I started incorporating exercise into it, and obviously giving back. I knew that when someone told me that if I could use what I've been through to help somebody else, it wasn't for nothing. Yeah. And I needed to hear that at the time. And so I've just thrown myself into trying to help other people the best I can. And I find rewarding. Yes. And so finding that, do you have a routine that works for you?
I do, man. And that's what I stress to our clients, man. You find what works for you, man, and you stick to it. You know what I'm saying? I tell them all the time, rise, grind, shine, repeat. Once you find that formula, just get to work, man, and just keep it coming. And pretty soon, over time, you're going to have a lot of days stacked up, But with me, I work at Changes, but I also kind of have my own little business, Showroom Solutions, where I work for a couple automotive dealers there in town where I make their window stickers, and I get their take photos of the cars and put them online and stuff like that. It's just a little hustle I've got.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the morning, I go do that, I get done with that, I go home, I get ready for Changes, I go to Changes, I get done there, I go home, and successful day.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And it's about staying busy. Like I said, whatever works for you, but staying busy because, idle hands, as they say. Yeah. And I know that would be true for me. And sometimes I feel like I'm too busy, but, I'm happy and I enjoy what I'm doing. It's not like I'm being forced to do any things I'm doing. These are all things that I enjoy doing, giving back, volunteering, helping people.
I always tell my guys I'm working with, try stuff you've never done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Find out who you are, because if you're anything like me, you had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know what my hobbies were. I didn't know what I enjoyed. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I had to try a lot of things.
Oh, that's what I tell people all the time. I don't know what I like. All I ever did was get high, and I was like, yeah, it's the same way. But that's an exciting place to be because everything's new. Try everything, and something you're going to enjoy something.
Yeah. That's what I tell them. Stay curious. Try new things, and eventually you'll find what you like.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you would like to share with anybody? Any words of wisdom other than the ones you've already shared? That.
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
I know.
He likes to do that.
I like to do that.
He likes to do that.
You can throw it back at me. Something. I mean, put me on the spot too.
Words of wisdom. I'll tell you something. My dad sent me a couple, maybe a week or so before he died, but he sent me something, and it said, money is nothing, time is something, but character is everything. And when he sent me that day, I'm looking at him like, well, what do you mean money is nothing? I need a lot of money. I need money, man. But looking at it, especially after he went, man, that resonated with me. Because you know what? Money comes and goes. Time, yes, valuable, but the character in which you live with will determine everything you get out of life and what you do with your time and what you do with your money. I
really like that because that's one of the things that I like to think and share about. Time is one of our most valuable commodities. It's one of the things we don't get back, and we're just spending it
and
every day.
You can't buy any more of it.
You can't get any more of it, and so how you spend it, and we've wasted a lot of it. Those of us in this room have wasted a lot of it, and so I really value that today. But to also put on top of it character, how are you representing yourself? What are you doing to better the world? You know,
My buddy at work, Joe, he he works with us in our department. He does this class, and it's the man I want to be. And on the board, he has a board, and he goes around the room and he asks the clients, what's a characteristic or a value in which you want to operate with when you get out of here. And by the time this class is done, you look up there and it's just hard work and honest, integrity. It's just all these great characteristics that you look at and you're like, that's the kind of man I want to be. And that's what it's about, being of character and not just talking about it, but being about it,
Amen.
And,
yeah, I've taught the same class as a peer mentor because for me personally, the steps were very useful and that like what I learned through them and the tools I gained through them. But more importantly than the steps was the spiritual principles behind the steps.
Yes, sir.
And deciding that's the man I want to be. The honest, courageous, persevering, spiritual, like all those things. When you decide that's who you want to be and you work towards being that person, you can't help but be a better person. You can't help but find a God of your understanding. Like you just can't.
When you spoke a while ago about figuring out who you were, and that's one good thing about recovery and starting over is you can kind of mold yourself into whoever you want to be. You just got to figure out what that is. What's your win, and who do you want to be in life, and become that person.
He knows. My favorite class to teach is always, which is all we went through a 12-step program. So it's 6 and 7, which is character defects and shortcomings.
Yes.
Take a real good hard look at myself, see what I need to improve on, and go to work doing it.
Yeah.
Because you heard me say God doing for you what you can't do for yourself. I always say that, but I said God's not going to do for you what you can do for yourself. Yeah. You got to put some salt in the game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm a big firm believer in that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and 6 and 7 is where the whole light bulb for the program came on for me because it was the willingness, right? The spiritual principle behind 6 is willingness. And it was not just the willingness to have a better life, be sober, not go to jail, but the willingness to put in the action.
Yeah, willingness to try to be better.
Yeah.
Willing to work. The willingness to work.
Action changes everything.
The hard stuff.
Yeah. That's it. That's it,
But the stuff that you reap, the
most
benefit
benefits,
from, you see the product of that
Yes, sir.
almost immediately when you're willing to put the effort into. And others see it in yourself. Others see it in you more than before you see it in yourself. And that encourages them. And then they tell you, like, man, you're different. And then you're encouraged. And it's just like this.
I always talk about it or be about it. Which one are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because this is where the rubber hits the road.
It is.
Yeah, agreed, man. Well, Trip, we thank you for coming on, man.
man.
This
Yes,
is
sir,
a good podcast. Lots of good stuff. Come back sometime.
definitely
I'd like
will,
to
man.
have you and Matt on together
Yeah,
sometime.
man, we would
That'd
love to
be
do
fun.
it. Man, we've talked about that, man, and we would love to come up here and do that, man.
Awesome. That'd be cool. All right. Check us out on YouTube. Or listen to our audio versions on Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean. And as always, stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.